Hi, Matthew, and welcome to the Oxbridge Formula. Would you like to tell me a little bit about yourself? What subject you study and what college you study at?
Yeah, I'm Matt. I study biochemistry at Oriel College, Oxford.
Cool. Why did you apply to Oriel?
So I did a lot of rowing back at school, and Oriel is one of the top rowing colleges at Oxford. So that was the main reason. They also have a very strong biochemistry section, which helped a lot. And they're quite central, so that ticked most of my boxes. Yeah.
What do you think makes it strong for biochemistry? So obviously I do biochemistry too, but at Somerville. And what do you think is the difference that makes Oriel such a great college for biochemistry?
The tutors are specialists in bioenergetics and DNA replication, which are some of the more theoretically difficult and I find more interesting areas in biochemistry. So they're also very high up in the college. I think they're on the sort of governing level, which means they have quite a lot of oversight. And they're all really lovely. I went in for an open day and had a chat with them, and they were just really lovely people and just really enjoyable to talk to. So that's really why. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's so important in tutors because it's good to have ones that are good at explaining concepts and things like that. But it's also so important to have people that you can go to talk to if you're struggling and things like that, and will be really receptive to you. So yeah, that's really, really good to know. And you talked about how Oriel's really, really good at rowing. Do you want to tell me a little bit about rowing at Oriel and any funny stories you've got or things like that?
Um,
Where to begin?
yeah, I'm trying to think what I'm allowed to say. um, the bridge comes to mind, but I'm not sure that's really okay to talk about.
Is in the club.
The bridge is in the. Don't worry.
The bridge.
Um,
Okay.
no, it's yeah, it's really.
Yeah.
I'll just go for my spiel now then.
Yeah, go for it.
It's really nice. Oriole has quite a long growing career. They're not one of the. I think they're one of the oldest boat clubs, and they have the best winning streak, and have won the most. They also have some of the largest number of blues without buying them in, which means that the level of rowing. Blues are people who row for at university level, so for in the boat race, and that means the level of rowing at Oriel is a lot higher than at other colleges. And all the guys who do it are great. And we also have a really good novice program, which means that it's just very enjoyable for everyone.
And can you just explain what novices are as well, just for people who don't know?
Novices are people who have just started this year, so it means people who go from nothing to and just learning how to row for the first time. And Oxford's really good in having lots of races and stuff specifically designed for novices to get them out and enjoying the sport.
That's really, really good. So what's the environment of Oriel like as a whole? How would you sort of describe it?
Oriel it's a very friendly atmosphere. Everyone's lovely. I think that goes for every college, but I particularly noticed Oriel is really lovely. There are lots of different sort of smaller groups. We all get along really well, and there's a lot of movement throughout the years. So I know some of the fourth years, through all the years, there's just really lovely atmosphere, and everyone's really supportive.
I think it's nice to have like inter-year friendships as well as within your own year. And I think that can be really useful as well to get like extra help with work or to get some help with notes for different subjects and things. That's good that happens in Oriel for sure. What do you reckon make Oriel different from other colleges? Like, what is Oriel known for? Is it known for having a particular reputation or anything like that?
So it has had quite a contentious history. It's not necessarily historically the most liked college. It has the nickname Toriel, and it hasn't necessarily always been on the right side of political decisions in the past. But that doesn't talk about what's currently happening in the college. There was a big sort of rebranding, and they're now trying to be one of the most forward-looking colleges and trying to keep up with the times. So I mean, they're all sorts of people of all ethnicities and political ideologies, and it's just a complete mixing pot that you can get down and have conversations with anyone without having to be too worried about being made fun of. You can just enjoy it and relax a lot more.
That's so nice. It's good to know, because I think people before coming to Oxford and Cambridge have this idea that there's just like one type of person at Oxford and Cambridge, and it's good to know that that isn't the case, and that colleges are also willing to adapt to the times and not be stuck in their like ways they have been for hundreds and hundreds of years. So yeah, that's really, really good to know. And talking of that, what's the equality and diversity like at Oriel?
It's quite good. We're quite diverse. We're quite diverse. I think there are movements to make it more diverse and to try and increase outreach, but that's something every college can do more, and everywhere in the country can do more. But I don't think there's a lack of diversity at all. But I think there always needs to be the emphasis of everyone trying to level the playing field in every possible way, which Oriel is striving for. We have quite a good outreach program, which is just getting better.
Can you tell me a little bit more about the outreach program and different initiatives that Oriel have, if you know any?
I honestly can't. I honestly don't know.
Okay, that's fine. Don't worry.
Sorry, Mary.
Is your JCR? It's all right. It's okay. Is your JCR quite diverse? As in, like, do you have like Bay reps and reps and things like that? And do you have any events for these types of groups?
Yeah, there's a equalities rep, and there is someone who deals with social disparity, and I think they brought in some new roles to do specifically with BAME and other. I think they brought in a specific BAME rep and a specific tutor to deal with that, with any issues that come up on that side. Yeah, it's constantly evolving and becoming better as we learn more about what is required and what we can do.
That's really, really good. And I guess in terms of that, welfare is really, really important at Oxford. I mean, especially for these like minorities at Oxford, but also for everybody, because the workload is just quite intense, as we know. So what sort of welfare provisions do they have at Oriel?
So we have, I think, 2 or 3 welfare reps in the JCR who are specifically for who you can go have a chat with, have a coffee. There are then junior deans and senior deans. So junior deans are members of the MCR, and they're all really lovely to have a chat with. And then there's also the chaplain, which when I turned up, I thought, I'm not particularly religious personally, I won't really talk to this person. But the chaplain is actually a really lovely guy at Oriel, and he's so nice just to sit down and have a chat with. He gets involved in the rowing a lot, and he's just a really nice guy. So there are lots of systems to be able to help support. And from what I've heard, the tutors are quite good at also helping if you get in a pickle with not being able to hit a deadline. They'll happily extend it within reason to allow you to maintain your mental health throughout the term.
That's really nice. Do you have any like stories or events? Like in Somerville, we had alpacas on the lawn in our Hillary term, which is our second term. So just wondering if you had any stories like that.
I think we have a dog walk. I think when it gets close to finals, you can walk a dog. I'm not really sure how that works. I sort of left it to the third years who seem much more interested. But there are certain events, and there's tea and toast, I think, once a week, and welfare brunch every Sunday, which you just turn up and can have a chat with people and just get free food, really.
That's really nice. And it's like, do a lot of people attend those types of things? Is it a good way to like meet people in college?
Yeah, I think Oriole's not the largest college. I think there are about 100 people in each year, which means that you kind of know everyone in your year and most people throughout the years. So there's quite a community feel throughout all of Oriole that you kind of bump into everyone and know everyone.
That's really nice. And I guess in terms of that, with accommodation, does everyone live on site? So that does that create the community feel, or do some people live off site in different accommodation, or are there years when people need to buy like rent their own accommodation? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
So you're always in college-owned accommodation. The first 2 years, you're in the main sites on high streets. And that means that when you first move in, you're in the same place as your college family, which I'm sure you'll ask me more about later. And then you move to Rectory Road, which is just over the Chowell, just over Morden Bridge. And that's where third years and fourth years live. But you don't have to worry about buying houses or renting houses. It's always provided by the college for all years.
And I suppose even that building is like, I mean, past Magdalen Bridge is still very close to the city. It's over the bridge and you're on the high street of the city. So I suppose that's really, really good. Because I know some colleges have college accommodation that's like in Iffley or like really, really north of Oxford and things. So that's really, really good to know. And also a huge benefit of Oriel, I'd say. And what are the rooms like? Like how much do they vary? Things like that.
So you can apply for like a grade of room, and the grades go from, I think there's 1C in the entire college, all the way up to A star. And so in first year, you get a single room. You'll either be sharing a bathroom between two people, which is fine. I had that. Or you'll have, if you're in an A star room or a really good A room, you'll get a bathroom in your room. You'll get an ensuite, which I had last year. And then sometimes you'll get a sink as well, if you don't have a toilet and bathroom. But yeah, all the rooms are quite spacious and big enough for what you need. And then in second year, you can get sets and flats where multiple of you live with your own bedrooms, but you have a conjoined living area. And then in flats, it's basically the same, but you also have a kitchen. Yeah, and then when you move out to Rectory Road in your third and fourth year, there's a little bit more space, I think, because it's a newer build. Yeah.
That sounds really cool. And I like that you get like a range of accommodation. And is that done by ballot system?
Yeah, so in your first year, you're assigned a random number, and they basically go from 1 down to 100 or whatever. And they go in order, and if you're sharing room, if you're in a set, then it's the average of your two numbers. And then when you go into second year and you're choosing rooms, then scholars get the first however many rooms, they get first pick, and then it goes to everyone else. But it's not really a problem because there are more than enough rooms for everyone to have a good enough room.
Did you have any, like on ballot day, do you ever get really, really stressed? Because I remember for my ballot day this year, my friend has a projector, so she can project her screen onto the wall, and we were watching the rooms go because we had made plans of where we'd stay, and we were seeing them get crossed off and stressing all together. Have you got any funny stories like that?
Well, there's the usual bit of people moving around their opinions like the day before or 2 days before, and that's always just adds an extra level of stress. That's never too nice.
Yeah.
But we always, in my first year, we do it in the JCR in the bar. So everyone's sitting there, and they'll call out the number and the name. You say where you want to go. So it got to me, and like I'd lost my first choice that I was interested in. My second choice about 20 spots later, and the guy literally before me took the room that I was wanting. So I was just sitting there like, "Can you give me a minute? I've lost all the rooms that I was looking for." But I got quite a nice one. It was kind of like a hidden gem, which no one really knew about. So I had an ensuite and quite a nice view. But yeah.
That's nice. And in first year, are you close to other freshers?
So freshers normally have like freshers staircases so that they get to know each other. So I think they are mainly in third quad, and I think a few staircases in Island Site. And then we're sort of dotted around the rest of the college in slightly different areas, but the college isn't very big. So the second that you leave to go to the library or the JCR or hall, you'll cross in front of pretty much everyone's room. So it doesn't really make a big difference where you're actually sleeping.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. And I guess it's similar to some of the, like, there's lots of different buildings, but it's all just around this. It's a small area, I guess. So like you're always meeting people, crossing people on the quad and things like that. You talked about on ballot day you sit in the bar. Do you have any alcohol to get you through that time, or does the bar open at a certain time?
The bar is open, I think, like 7 or 8 till 11. I think most days. I think there's Tuesday they take a day off or something, and then we have 1 hour on Thursday and Wednesday where there's, Thursday and Friday where it's drinks are cheap, a happy hour where drinks are cheaper, but it's pretty good prices, and it's cheaper than the pubs outside. So you just sit there, play a bit of pool, and have a pint with your mates.
What time? What price is a typical pint at the bar?
I think it's like between 2 and 3 quid. So it's really quite good.
Yeah, that is not bad compared to Oxford.
Yeah, compared to Oxford. If you're up north, it's probably a lot cheaper. Yeah.
I don't know. Jericho is quite expensive, but yeah. And what time's the happy hour? Just so I know when to visit you.
I think it's like 9 till 10, because it's always the thing where we turn up, I think 20 minutes early, and we're just sitting there. We're like, well, we end up getting a drink before happy hour starts and don't get the cheaper prices. But it's all pretty affordable.
It's cool that you've got a college bar. I like that. And do you have like a separate cafe, like college cafe or anything?
No, it's just the bar.
Okay,
There's
cool.
pool as well, but we don't have anything else. There's JCR Tuck, which basically JCR buys a load of food, mainly sweets, realistically, and then you can go and buy some whenever you want, and it's just in the JCR.
I like that. Like, we didn't have that in our JCR, so that's actually a really cool thing to have. Do you want to tell me a little bit more about your JCR in terms of the building? So basically, the JCR is 2 things, isn't it? It's like the student body, undergraduate student body, and then there's a JCR committee, which is sort of in charge, or like listens to the problems and like makes the changes that the student body want. But also, you've got the JCR room, the junior common room, which is sort of just a place for the undergrads to hang out. So do you want to tell me a little bit about the actual room?
So it's in what we call the doll's house, which is this sort of whitewashed, almost thatched roof. It looks really odd compared to all the beige stone. And there are 2 rooms on the ground floor. So the one on the left has a TV, which I think we watched Love Island and the rugby on quite a lot. And everyone sort of came down and watched that, which is quite good. And then it's got a little sort of kitchen where for tea and toast, which is on, I think, 2 or 3 times a week at night, they make tea and toast. And then in the other room, there's a ping pong table and the JCR Tuck. And yeah, it all works pretty nicely.
That's really cool. And do people spend a lot of time in there? Because I know when we came to visit you in Oriole, like we had prees. I think that was in the JCR, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, people spend a fair amount of time in there. I think because we moved into second year and people have sets, we're spending a bit less time because we have rooms away from everyone else. But in first year, we used it quite a lot. And if there are events like welfare brunch and stuff happen in the JCR, so you're sort of passing through it quite a lot.
That's really cool. And talking about like brunch and things, what is the food like at Oriole? This is a big thing.
It's so I think they make it on site and it comes out in like big trays, and it's quite good. So there's the usual fish on Fridays, and then the rest of the week they mixed up quite a lot. It's like lasagna and I put myself on the spot now. Just lots of different. It's like your normal meal, but so for lunch, it's not like a lunch meal. It's something that I normally have for dinner. So it's quite heavy food. It's nice enough, and there's a little salad bar that you can make your own salads as well, and they have pudding as well. And then obviously we have formal every night of the week as well, which is quite unusual for a college.
Every night? Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
Every night.
Your gowns for that?
Sorry?
Do you wear your gowns for formals?
Yeah.
So if you have it every night, is it, I mean, do you have special formals where the food is higher quality? Because I suppose you can't have like really high quality food if you're having formals every single day, if you know what I mean. Sorry, no offense.
Informal hall, which is until 6:30, I think. And then there's formal hall, which starts at 7:15, and that's where you get multiple courses. You're sitting there in suit and gown, and you can order wine off the wine list and stuff.
Wow, so you dress up even for the formals, even though they're every day?
If you're going to formal hall, if you're going to informal, you can wear whatever you want. But
because
yeah.
I was going to say, because at Christchurch, they have formals every single day, but because they have them every day, people turn up in their pajamas with their gown on. Like, so it's really interesting that you guys still make an effort and like wear suits and dresses to your formals, even though you have them every day. That's really cool. Yeah, do you have any special formals? Because I know Christchurch have like special guest formals. So they're like more expensive, and you have 4 courses, and it's more of an event. Do you have anything like that?
Yeah, so I think once a term there's something called guest night, where you sort of apply for tickets, and they're sort of handed out randomly, and you apply for yourself and then some guests. So I took my parents last term, or like Hillary term, which is the one just after Christmas. And you get, I think, a 4 or 5 course meal. So you get a starter, a main, I think a sorbet, a pudding, just loads of food and lots of wine. It's all, yes, it's really nice. It's slightly more expensive, but it's quite a special event.
So how much is a normal formal?
A normal formal is, I think, I want to say 7 or 8 quid. I'm not completely sure. I think it's about 7 or 8 pounds, which is pretty good. Actually, I think it's more. I can't remember what it is. And then a guest night formal is because you're taking guests. It's not that. I think it's not that expensive for you. It's like 15 quid for you, but I think it's more like 20, a bit over 20 quid for your guests. But I mean, I got my parents to pay for their tickets, so that works out quite well.
That's the way to do it. How much is a normal meal in hall? Like, if I just came for dinner at Oriole, for example.
I think for it, I think it's three or 4 pounds. It sort of varies on how much food you get. If you get which it took us a while to work this out. If you get a salad and then the main course and then a pudding, I think it's about between 3 and 4 pounds, which is pretty good. It's a little bit more expensive than if you cooked everything yourself, but you don't have to cook everything yourself. So
that's definitely cheaper than Somerville, because it's about £4.50 for like just a main and 2 sides, as in like chicken and then chips and veg. So that's really good that you get like a main and salad and a pudding for that price. That's really good. Mm-hmm. Good to know. And the food is like high quality. Like, is there vegetarian options for people who are veggie? Yeah,
there's a vegetarian option for every meal. I think there might be a vegan option for every meal. There's not as much variety in those areas as is wanted, but it is kind of difficult because the chefs aren't that used to it, and they're having to put out bulk for everything and then a smaller level for vegan and vegetarian. But there is stuff available if you are thusly inclined.
No, that definitely makes sense. I'll quickly talk about the Oxbridge formula, and then we're going to talk about your college library. So here at the Oxbridge formula, we offer a variety of in-depth online courses and intensive summer and half-term courses aimed at best preparing you for applying to Oxford and Cambridge. So visit our website for more information on our admissions tests and our interview prep courses, and there's a link in the description below. Also, you can check out the website to look at some blogs which have been written by students about students' lives at Oxford and Cambridge. So let's get back to talking to you about your college library. What makes the Oriel Library special to you?
It's not like any other library I've been to. So you go in, and the corridor is wood paneled. Then you go up this weird sort of twisty stone staircase, and the library's over 3 floors. And in each of those, the bookcases sort of stick out, and the desks are in little nooks and crannies. So I had my desk, which I use most of the time when it's free, is sort of behind a sort of C-shaped bookcase. So I'm properly like hidden away from everyone. But there are a few tables which they have multiple chairs at. It's kind of cozy. It's really nice.
Yeah, that sounds so nice. It sounds very different to Somerville. Because I mean, I'm glad Somerville is a big library because obviously it was an all-girls college originally, so it is very well stacked. But I suppose it is quite an open space, so you can get easily distracted by people just wandering past you all the time to go to the toilet or something. So that is really, really cool to know about Oriole. And is it 24 hours?
Yes, it is. It is 24 hours.
Are there any bad stories from when you've had to spend hours in the library, any essay crises or any funny things have happened in the library? So for example, people started throwing oranges at each other around our library just for fun at 1 a.m. Is there any there stories?
So one of the guys was working late, and there are multiple doors of which you need a bog card, which is an electronic key to get in and out of. So he left his bog card behind one of the doors and walked through because he wanted to go to the toilet, but he couldn't leave because he needed his bog card to leave, but he couldn't get back in because he needed his bog card to get back in. This is about 2 a.m. in the morning. So he just sat there staring at the camera, just waving, trying to get the porter's attention for about an hour. And then he finally gave up. Then one of the porters, as he was on his walk around the college just to check it, just saw him, was like, "Are you all right, Jack? I thought you were just having a nap. You actually locked in."
That's so bad. That must have been such a nightmare.
Yeah.
So you couldn't even go to the toilet for an hour, waving at the porter.
He was stuck there from 2 to 3:30.
I think I know another thing that'll draw some funny stories out of you, Matthew. So let's talk about events at Oriole. So I know I've seen pictures of Oriole BOPs, which are big organized parties. So can you tell me a little bit about BOPs at Oriole? What sort of makes them different at Oriole, and then any hilarious stories you've got about them?
So 2 or 3 times a term we'll have a BOP, which is a party in the bar, and they've always got a theme. So you turn up and you've got to dress up as a theme. So we had memes as one. We had an LGBTQ BOP, an 80s BOP. There are loads of different themes. So I went, me and about 5 or 6 of the other guys all went as Freddie Mercury, which is really fun. There's the classic, which is Anything But Clothes, where we spent our prees stapling. We'd each bought a crate of beer, and we stapled the beer into a little skirt, and then duct taped it round, and that was really fun. But we forgot that staples point out on one side, and that was not the most pleasant. We woke up next morning and just had red lines across our legs where it would just be ripping into us.
That's so bad. And do you buy the drinks for the BOP at the bar, or do they have special BOP juice?
No, so we have so you obviously do your prees in your rooms, and then you turn up. 9 is when the BOP starts, and then they serve drinks at the bar, and they do a Glennie, which is sort of the Oriel College drink. I think most colleges have their special drink, and the Glennie is ours. So that is a shot of Archers, I think a shot of gin, maybe a shot of vodka, and then lemonade and lime cordial, and it tastes really nice. It's weirdly
lethal.
It is quite lethal. I think if you have more than 2, particularly if you've had a few drinks before, then you're not in for, or you're in for a good night, but not in the best way.
No, definitely. And I mean, at Somerville, people tend to go to Fever, a club in Oxford, after BOPs. That is if you survive the BOP and make it out. Are there any like traditional Oriel clubs to go to after a BOP?
We don't normally go out after BOPs. We normally go to someone's room and drink for a couple of hours and chat, and then go to bed. Yeah, but we have gone to Fever once, I think. But our BOPs are pretty intense, and you've already been going for a couple of hours, so everyone's pretty tired after.
Any trips to the like special Oriel Kebab vans? Like, what is the designated Oriel Kebab van?
Ahmed's is just outside Unit, which is one college down. And we always go there, and they do jumpers as well. They have like their merchandise, and they're the best kebab van in the country. So so Tom, who also does biochemistry with me, bought a Ahmed's jumper, and every time he goes wearing the Ahmed's jumper, they'll give him a little bit extra food if he wants. But yeah, that's the standard. That's how we go to Ahmed's, and they're there until 5 a.m. in the morning.
So good, honestly. Like, kebab vans get us Oxford students through our club nights, because like each college has like a designated van, and so like you should technically go to that van, and if you don't, you're a traitor. But yeah, there's some great kebab vans in Oxford. Like, every street you go onto, there's an amazing kebab van. Yes, that's definitely cool. What about Oriel balls? Have you been to an Oriel ball, or was it meant to be this year?
Yeah, there was meant to be one this year, which was being organised by our years, and it was looking to be really good because it's a commemoration ball, so they have quite a large budget. But
what's a commemoration ball?
Commemoration ball, it used to have a larger meaning, but it's now just sort of a bigger ball that the larger colleges do less frequently. So it's every couple of years, and it's originally it was to do with if it's 100 years since the college was founded, but it's turned into just every couple of years. So it was meant to be quite a big ball, and they had some quite good events coming and people coming to do stuff. But yeah, they've had to, I think they postponed it. They haven't cancelled it. They've postponed it indefinitely.
Okay. So do Oriel have any normal balls, but like non-commemoration balls, or is it always just the commem balls every 2 or 3 years?
We're in rotation with 2 other colleges. I think it's Jesus and another one. And basically that means every 3 years, every year in a 3-year cycle, one of those colleges will be doing it. And there's not much competition. So you kind of go to each of those colleges' balls each year.
Okay, that's really cool. And how much like is a ticket priced at for an Oriel ball?
So because it's a commemoration ball, it was about with a 7-course meal, it was about 180 quid, I think. So it's quite expensive, but it's your big event of the entire year, and they had some schemes to help people who would struggle to have enough money to do it. Yeah, they had some financial schemes to help with that.
That's really, really good. And that also, I guess that shows like Oriel understanding that some people will want these wonderful experiences but may not be able to afford them as easily as others. So that's really, really good to know. So let's take it right back. How did you feel when you arrived at Oriel? Like, what was the first impressions you got? How was Freshers Week for you?
So I'd met Ellie and B, two of the other biochemists, at interviews earlier or the year before. So we kind of knew each other, and we all turned up to the hall, and you go through, you have to sign your name and get some promotional stuff and like a care bag. It was quite weird. And then you get your keys and you go to your room and set yourself up. And then through Freshers Week, they have a bunch of events. And you found your college parents, which is basically the college assigns to second years to look after you, basically. So I had Jack Blows, who was a second year biochemist, and Cora McGregor, who was also a second year biochemist, and second year English student. And yeah, then you go out to the clubs and start doing loads of socials and stuff. It's just nice. Not all the events are drinking. They tie dyeing shirts and everything, but some of the ones which I particularly enjoyed were the drinking events.
Yeah, I mean, same. But I'll just quickly explain the college family system. So it sounds really, really weird, but when you come to Oxford, you get assigned parents. So like, yeah, two people who are a year older than you, who are there to like guide you on your journey. And then they'll also have parents. So technically you have grandparents. And if it's a 4-year course, you may even have grandparents. And then when you become a second year, well, you get married in first year, like normally. Isn't marriage in first year? Yeah. And then you get assigned college kids when they come up to first year. So it's just a long line of families. And to be honest, I bet you could trace it back for like hundreds of years. Yeah, like great grandparents. But it is a really, really nice way to settle you in and also to get advice about your course and things. And they normally contact you before you come to Oxford just to give you like top tips, which is also really cool. So yeah. Is there anything that Oriel do like specifically to them during Freshers Week? So, for example, it's a St. Peter's College tradition to Thirst as their first night of Freshers. So, is there anything like Oriel specific?
I don't know all the colleges do. I don't think so. It seems fairly self-explanatory what we do. We obviously have a BOP at the end of first week. I guess you sign the provost's book, so you'll go and there'll be a few of you going at a time, and you'll have a chat and then sign the provost's book, which people have done for hundreds of years. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. We don't do anything like that in Somerville, but I suppose that's a really cool like way to be remembered. You know, people are going to be looking at that book in hundreds of years' time, like, oh, Matthew Hamilton. No, that's really cool. So we're going to do some like weird questions now. As in, like, which college do you think is most different to Oriel? So get your thinking cap on. And why, of course.
I'd say I think Wadham is probably the most different because Oriel still has quite a lot of history and quite nice like routines that are really old, whereas Wadham seems quite new and different to lots of other colleges, whereas Oriel is still quite archaic in some of the ways it runs. We still have we have a very long formal grace, which is done at all the formal halls, which is always quite strange. Trying to think of them now. The whole boat club and the boat club events are all quite archaic, with boat burning and getting special ties for stuff. It's all quite strange. If you not yeah, we had if the first day wins, the bumps, which is basically the big race, then we burn a wooden boat in college and basically have a big party, which is quite nice.
That's so cool. Do you have any other like weird traditions? Because some colleges have really weird traditions, like on the longest day of the year and different things like that. They're like quite college specific. So do you have anything like that? Including like, the boat, burning the boat is one, but
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think a fair few of them have been phased out, and yeah, I can't think of any currently. There's the classic where everyone goes down to Magdalen Bridge for May Day, but everyone does that. Yeah.
But yeah, just to explain, on May Day, it's like tradition for all students to stay up all night, and like the clubs stay on for longer, and people like I don't know how they do it. I've never actually done it. They stay out all night, and then everyone goes to Magdalen Bridge at like 6 a.m. There's a huge group of people there, and Magdalen Choir sing, and it's a really weird but magical experience. There's loads of like street dances and things. So yeah, it's a really, really cool little event, and there's loads of like quirky things like that at Oxford. So yeah, I think we'll end it there. And yeah, thank you very much for listening.